Welcome to another episode of TeeVo and the Beard.
You can't see us, but you're joining us for lunch.
Yes. I want to mention one thing from last week's episode.
Yes.
So we talked about Cardi B.
Oh, yes.
And I put up a Twitter poll to find out if we didn't understand Cardi B because we're too old, we need to give her music a chance, and a couple other options.
Right.
Well, I want to announce the winner of that poll was Who is Cardi B? So we are not alone in our I don't want to say distaste or dislike.
No. And as we said during that...
misunderstanding.
As we said during that, it was not a judgment on good and bad. It's just,
right.
We just don't get it.
Right.
And that could mean many different things. But we did not mean it as, this is bad, you shouldn't like this.
But yeah, I think it was something like, almost half of the votes were for Who is Cardi B?
Really?
Yep. So,
did anybody actually vote, we're too old or something, or the more pro Cardi B one?
There was like one vote for we're too old, and a couple votes for you need to give her music a chance.
Right.
And then I put out another tweet asking people who, because it won't show me who voted for what.
Uh-huh.
I put out another tweet saying, for those who said we should give her a chance, tell us, explain yourself further, and no response to that one.
We should give him a chance, but we're not saying we give her a chance.
Right, yeah. You guys should listen to her, but I'm not going to.
Yeah. But how dare you not want to listen to her?
Right. So I would not be surprised, though, if the guys from Blame Your Brother were one of the ones to vote for the Give Her Music a Chance, even though I'm sure those three guys would not.
So, no icebreaker today. I don't have any rants or confusions or anything like that, so we're clean this week. But
always good to stay clean.
Yeah. But I will say, we're going to start the episode off with a little mini movie reaction.
Yes, you've been to the
cinema. Well, technically, I didn't say this last week, but I also saw... did I say I saw Tomb Raider?
No.
I saw that last week.
Okay, how was that reboot?
So, both movies, we're just going to react.
Yeah.
Reacted very positively. It's thoroughly entertained in both.
Nice.
With Tomb Raider, there were certain sequences of like, it's a good thing it's a movie, because I don't believe this, but I don't think I'm here to believe this.
Right, yeah.
I'm here to be entertained, and for that I was. Mm-hmm. I will say I enjoyed it more than the Angelina Jolie films.
That was going to be my first question, yeah.
Well, let me put it to you this way. I have seen each of the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raiders once in theaters, both.
Oh, wow.
And I have never had a desire to watch them again. But I saw them.
Which is very telling, though.
There are ticket stubs. I paid for one of them. Well, I think the first one came out when I was still young enough to not pay for things.
Oh, okay.
But the second one, yeah.
So it's not like you snuck in.
I did not sneak in.
It was paid for.
There is a ticket somewhere.
Yeah.
But I did not pay for it.
Somebody paid for it, though.
The second one, I did pay for. Oh. But I saw them. I contributed to the
second one we all paid for.
So I paid for them, and I just haven't had a desire to see them again. Not even a curious, wonder. Nope. I was like, all right, well, that's the film. And it's even sadder.
What's that?
I couldn't tell you the plot of either.
Oh, no.
And I can tell you certain moments.
As could I, especially in the first one.
But I don't remember a plot.
No, I remember the shower scene from the first one.
Yeah.
The PG shower scene.
Yes.
But yeah, that's literally all I remember from the first Tomb Raider. And that says a lot about it.
Yep.
But the second one, a lot better. There's actually a storyline in the new one.
The new one, yeah. Well, you gotta remember that back then, and it's not that much different now, but at least they're trying.
Yeah.
But back then with video game movies, particularly video game movies, it's like someone in the head honcho office of making this film is not concerned with plot at all.
Right.
As long as it looks like the game.
Right.
Because
they got that title on it.
Because they think we won't care. Mm-hmm. And time told, yes, we do care.
I mean, look at the Mario movie from many, many decades ago.
Yes.
They really did not. They wanted the name on there, and that's all they cared about.
Yes. So that's probably why I don't remember a plot. There might not have been a plot.
Right.
There's more of a plot in this one.
Okay.
And there's more character development. Alicia Vikander's Lara Croft does not start off as the video game Lara Croft.
Okay.
There is a progression into that. So I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, I enjoyed it.
So she's not just eye candy.
No. In fact, there is no shorts, there's no gratuitous shower scenes. It's very grounded in somewhat realism minus the action sequences.
Okay, so would you say it would be like a female Indiana Jones?
Yes.
Okay.
The only thing I really have a problem with Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider, is that the ending, we won't say what it is, but it's heavily setting out for more films.
Okay.
And I want my films to, and you can allude to stuff, but it was like point blank, like, hey, we're not done.
Yeah.
The movie's about to be done, but we hope to not be done. It's like, oh.
So it might as well have literally said to be continued at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And the only reason I worry about it is because it still was beaten by Black Panther.
Right.
Which
I mean, understandably.
Which Black Panther is now the highest superhero grossing film, past the Avengers now.
Yeah, it's made like $1 quadrillion or something.
The theater I saw it in, there was only 2 other people in it.
Mm-hmm.
No, 3. Never sorry. Granted, it was also St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
But still, I was like, oh, this is not positive.
Yeah.
For people to get sequels, lots of people need to see the film.
That is typically the rule.
So I'm worried that not many people will see this film when it matters for people who pay for these films.
Right.
So I'm stuck with, like you said, basically to be continued. But what if it doesn't continue?
Right. Now, speaking of sequels,
yes,
the other movie you saw,
and again, very positive reaction, Pacific Rim Uprising.
Yes.
So I'm going to say I enjoy Pacific Rim 1. I have no qualms about it.
Yeah.
Similar to Tomb Raider, different from Tomb Raider.
Okay.
In that I've only seen it once in theaters, but I've meant to see it again. I just, I've had desire to see it again.
Talking about the first one still,
yes.
Right? Yeah.
I haven't.
Right.
Whereas, like I said, with Tomb Raider, I'm very... Lara Croft's Tomb Raider, Angelina Jolie's Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
I'm very fine with the one time I saw it.
Yeah.
And I was a kid, by the way.
Yeah.
So if you suck as a movie to a kid...
That's pretty bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about the person that wanted to watch Batman and Robin over and over on VHS until I grew up.
Yeah, kids aren't as discerning sometimes.
Yes, but Tomb Raider broke the mold for that.
Yeah.
But Pacific Rim Uprising, I enjoyed it. And I feel like I enjoyed it a lot more because...
Because I thought the first one was overhyped. It was good, but it wasn't great.
You enjoy it.
Right.
Overall, you leave the viewing going, hey, that was a decent movie.
That wasn't a waste of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I didn't see it a second time, so...
There you go. But would you have a problem with seeing it another time?
If someone else was paying for it. Or if it came on TV or something.
That's what I was like, well, I feel like you don't have to pay for it anymore.
That's true.
In some ways, I feel like you might have already paid for it. Whether the streaming site you subscribe to.
Yeah, that's true.
Nonetheless. Second one, I feel like I like because it's more fun. Yes, I agree. The first one can't be fun. You're in the middle of a monster extinction war.
Right.
The second one starts 10 years after that, where life can be a little fun now. But they also didn't bog any time explaining things, because in the first, you have to. You're talking about a hard concept where mankind build giant robots to fight these monsters that come out of the ocean.
Right.
So...
And I'm a fan of giant monsters.
You have to explain these things. You have to explain how they're doing this. And like things like what a kaiju is, what a Jaeger is, why you have to have 2-man piloting the Jaegers, what a neural handshake is. Okay, now that we got these characters, this concept out of the way, let's talk about the characters. Why is Charlie Hunnam important? Why is Idris Elba important?
Yeah.
Why is Rinko Kikuchi important? Why are Charlie Day and Vern Gorman important?
And for those who don't know, to give the very basic definition, a Jaeger is a giant robot.
Yes.
That man has created to fight the kaiju, which are giant monsters. Think, if somebody is somehow not familiar with Pacific Rim at all, think Godzilla.
Yes.
He's like the quintessential kaiju. I am a huge fan of big monster movies.
Yeah.
Godzilla, Gamora, I mean, like, you name it out there. I want to see Rampage. Like, I genuinely want to see Rampage because it's a kaiju movie. It's got a giant wolf, a giant crocodile or alligator, and a giant gorilla. I don't expect it to be good.
Okay, I was about to say,
I don't expect it to be The Rock's shining piece of work.
Speaking of The Rock, off topic, but I did make the assumption. So The Rock is producing another film, as he's been doing a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
But the plot sounds like, and I'm sorry, Rock. I'm not trying to insult you.
Yeah, because as we've learned recently, you never know who's listening to our show or following us.
Yes, I'm not trying to insult you. I think you work very hard, and it shows.
Mm-hmm. But
the plot of your new movie sounds like a parody of an action movie.
Okay.
So he's doing...
Besides Rampage, what's coming out for him?
So in the very early stages, as in, like, I think he just took meetings and said, yes, I'll do it, and my company will make it. He plays a government agent who's trying to track down the world's greatest art thief.
Okay.
And I'm just like, that sounds like a plot you hear in a movie when someone's trying to pitch an action movie to X celebrity.
Yeah.
This isn't one you actually make.
This might just Google easy action movie.
Yeah, exactly. But nonetheless, back to Pacific Rim.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoyed it because it was more fun.
Yeah.
And the mythology, it's already set for.
Yeah.
You don't need to understand these things. They touch briefly on all this, but so brief, you just jump right into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that. It was a good popcorn movie.
Now, I'm not sure if one of our fellow podcasters out there, Miles from The More You Nerd, who's also a kaiju fan, has seen Pacific Rim or not, but so you already broke my heart. It's time to break his heart if he hasn't seen it. We were promised when the sequel was announced that we would see more kaiju. There would be more,
okay, let me ask
more
you
big
this.
monsters.
Because I only seen it once.
Mm-hmm.
How many giant monsters were in the first one? Do you remember?
That I remember?
Yes.
You only get to see maybe 2 or 3.
Okay.
Where you actually get to see them. I mean, they're mentioned.
Yes.
But and one of them's dead. I mean.
Okay.
Spoilers for the first one.
Yeah. Spoiler for the second one. There's only 3. However, I think the climax makes up for it. Shall I do a spoiler?
Yes, we will do a spoiler. Cover your ears if you don't want to hear it.
So, shock to me, and this is another reason why I really enjoyed the film. Shock to me, I did not call the bad guy.
Okay.
The bad guy was Charlie Day.
So, Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Charlie Day was the bad guy.
He does not look like he could play a bad guy.
The mastermind of the new film is Charlie Day. And I had to think about it. Because in the first one, you remember he drifted with the kaiju brain, and that's how they found the information to stop the breach and save the world, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And you think at the time, oh, well, that's smart.
Right.
You do that.
Especially in science fiction fantasy.
You do that. Mm-hmm. You don't think, that might have long-lasting effects.
Right.
And it did. Because not only did he just drifted with the kaiju brain in Pacific Rim 1, this new movie takes place 10 years later. You learn he's been doing it every day.
Oh, wow.
And you think, oh...
Well, that's not the best habit to have.
Well, you see it once, you're like, oh, that's just... What a bad habit. Mm-hmm. No? Well, yeah, bad habit, but it also was the demise of many things.
Okay.
So essentially, the kaiju hive mind took over Charlie Day's character.
Okay.
So while
now, is this obvious when you first start... When he's first in the movie? Okay.
No. So it was a shock. Mm-hmm. But I will say, in regards to giant monsters, so the climax of the movie, 3 monsters attack Tokyo. So unlike the first one where, you had one in each different section.
Right.
So 3 of them attack at the same time. Mm-hmm. So naturally, 4 Jaegers go in.
Yeah.
And Charlie Day is basically the playmaker. So he's watching it all happen. Mm-hmm. And he's basically saying, oh, giant robots, so tacky.
So he knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing.
Okay.
So then he sends these little tiny robots, genetic robots of sorts. Mm-hmm. Don't need to explain it because who cares?
Yeah.
He used these little robots, trillions of them, I suppose, because of how big kaijus are. Mm-hmm. And the 3 kaijus fuse into one giant monster.
Okay.
So I think
Yeah, no, I'm liking that.
I think the lack of quantity of monsters will make
the higher quality.
will make up in that.
Oh yeah.
But and yes, it was very entertaining.
Okay.
And I think that's where I'm gonna keep going with this film. It was just entertaining.
Right.
I walked in, I liked the characters, we're in it, it was fun, good guy wins, duh.
Right.
There you go.
And that's what I expect from a movie like that. I expect to go in and just be entertained. I don't expect to walk out and go, well, man, that is a life-changing, world-altering movie there. Everyone needs to go see this.
Yeah.
I expect to come out and say, that was worth $10 or whatever, a movie ticket price is now.
Yeah. So there's that.
Cool.
But I think, I hope you and our fellow kaiju fans out there will enjoy the film.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear some remarks from some of our listeners and people like Miles who need to listen.
There we go.
So, any other news before we get into the main event, which is S.H.I.E.L.D? Because the only other thing I'm caught up on is iZombie, and I have the same comments that I had last week, so it needs a better channel.
Hey, I was about to say refresh on that, but you just said it.
Yeah, and that's nothing against CW. It's just they're limited, and iZombie needs to be set free.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, because it's got so much potential there, especially with Blaine's dad. Blaine's dad is one of my favorite characters in the show now because I love a good bad guy, especially a bad guy who has a reason behind what he's doing.
There you go. So.
Sorry,
you'll our listeners, if you want to know what we're laughing at, you'll know later.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. For this specifically, follow us on Instagram. And
yes, there
you'll start seeing the additional footage
exactly
of the show.
So I guess I'll just comment a little bit on Black Lightning.
Oh, okay.
Again, still an enjoyable show.
Mm-hmm.
They're really punching in. But I guess I shouldn't be surprised, CW. They like to punch in things right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Because now not only is his oldest daughter becoming Thunder, she's got the costume. Now she is fully Thunder.
Are they calling her that now?
Yeah, they're calling it. Yeah.
I thought they were going to wait for season 2 for something like that.
Oh, no. Oh, she's got the costume.
Yeah.
She's got the name. It's Lightning and Thunder. It's Thunder and Lightning is on the show.
Yep.
Speaking of Lightning, I thought, okay, in the comics, both his daughters have powers.
Mm-hmm.
The one is too young, so you're like, okay, maybe they'll do that later.
Right.
Nope. But the direction I do like with her is that we see her oldest daughter, Thunder, fully embrace having powers. She is really like, yes, almost in a sense of finally, I can do something.
Yeah.
Not the youngest daughter. She doesn't want anything to do with this.
Okay.
Because in her mind, powers mean I'm not normal anymore. And all she
makes sense.
And there was a line in the show where she said, I just want to go to prom.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be normal. You don't see that very often, just the complete flip side of discovering you have superpowers.
Yeah, normally it's like if you have superpowers, then you're like, oh great, superpowers. Now I'm going to go change the world where you're really still a person.
Which is the first, Anissa, the first one, she's like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can do this now. And the other one, not so much.
Yeah.
So that's become that's just an interesting dynamic.
Okay. Yeah, and it's good to see it two dynamics in the same show.
Yes.
Also.
The only thing is, like, I did not think this would happen the first season.
Right.
The half season, first season.
Right. We're going to put it all on the table for you right here. Either you like it or you don't.
and this was a big episode in terms of people who want to bait the connection of the CW DC.
Okay.
Because in this episode, she really discovers her sister has powers. Mm-hmm. She discovers her father is Black Lightning. Yeah. So again, they don't know this. Yeah. And then when her mother comes in to try to help her out, she's like, "You're not going to tell me you're Vixen, are you?"
Wow.
And she says, "No, I'm not Vixen. No, I'm not Supergirl." And of course, the people are like, "Oh."
CW is like, "No, this one's not connected to the other ones." But guess what? It really is. I mean, we predicted it before they even announced the show that there will be a crossover in some form.
Yeah.
As long as they do it right, we're behind it.
Yeah.
So before we get into the show, we're going to take a proper break here because I want to put the little spoiler tag in there because I do not see a single way of talking about this week's episode without spoiling it from the get-go.
From the very first word.
Yeah.
Excuse me, spoiler alert!
And we're back. So, this is the 102nd episode. I don't even count them as seasons anymore. This is just episode 102 in my book of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
They are pulling out a lot of stops.
They are, yeah. I attempted to live tweet this episode.
You did well.
Thank you. But there were some parts where I was just like glued to it. I was like, yeah, I can't type and watch at the same time. I was tweeting with a follower of ours
really?
named Toby, who is a huge Agents fan, even before she found us, of course. I would love if we found somebody who found Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because of us.
Ooh.
That would be very cool to find out. But I'm not holding my breath for that one. So, but we were making comments back and forth about, what actually was going on because this episode, like we've mentioned with other ones...
Hey, you said spoiler. Let's just go. Let's give one big one.
Framework Fitz.
Is not actually... was not an illusion.
He was not an illusion, but at the same time, he was not real.
But at the same time, he was totally real.
Yes. And I tweeted to... what's the female producer? Her last name's not actually Whedon, so it's...
Marisha Tantron?
Yes, I tweeted to her thanking her for having a show that keeps us on our toes like this, because so many superhero shows...
As far as the show has run.
Right, yeah, but with this season in particular, it's like... we know that the nightmare dimension is still open.
Yes.
So
But it gets closed.
Yeah.
Sad, because I thought they were going to keep it around long enough for Britt Dalton to come back.
Right. So when you see Framework Fitz come out...
You're like, duh.
Yeah. And me and our follower were tweeting... Don't start laughing already. Me and our follower were tweeting that... whose fear is this? Is this Gemma's fear? Is it Fitz's fear? She was going with the Gemma side. I was going with Fitz because his biggest fear would be becoming that version of himself.
In the very first scene in the episode, we saw what supposedly was maybe Will from the Maveth.
Yeah, the astronaut.
Yeah. And obviously it was a fear dimension illusion.
Right.
They got rid of it.
And
you're like, okay.
A quick comment with that. I thought that no matter where they shot the illusion, it disappeared. But it seems it has to be an actual kill shot to get rid of him.
Yes.
Because as many times as they were plugging into that guy and he didn't disappear, I thought, oh, well, he might actually be real. Yeah.
I believe that the other ones you've had to get rid of them.
Yeah,
with a kill shot.
And I think I think they wanted us to think that was real for a minute, so that when Fitz came in, or Framework Fitz came in, it did confuse
Very
things.
True. But it starts off by literally showing us the formation of a fear dimension image. So you think whenever Framework Fitz comes in, you're like, yeah, oh, that's a fear dimension,
right? So we had the astronaut come in, and then we see Framework Fitz, and we assume that everyone can see Framework Fitz.
Well, conveniently so. The only time we the audience, see Framework Fitz, he's only with Fitz.
Right.
So you're like, oh dear.
Well, we see what we assume is Framework Fitz knocking out Deke.
Yes.
Because he calls himself the Doctor.
Yes.
At that point.
Yes.
So...
The first thing that should have, one thing that should have alerted me at first was, why is this illusion going to all these links to be stealthy? Most of them just pop up and start wreaking havoc.
Right.
So I thought that was something weird. I was like, oh, okay, this one's actually trying to...
Yeah, he had a plan,
and
he wanted to take over, make sure his plan came to fruition.
Yeah.
But of course, we think that it's an evil, nefarious world taking over a plan.
Yeah, just like his framework self.
Right.
But he kept saying, you know what to do, but you're too scared to do it.
Right.
And we're like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this plan of yours?
So, but that scene where he has Daisy on the operating table.
Yes.
And she says, "Who are you talking to?"
Oh my god.
I let out an audible gasp on that because I was like,
well,
no.
because in this moment, as far as we as the audience know, Framework Fitz has captured Daisy.
Right.
Because in his MO in the framework was to experiment on humans.
Right.
So you're like, oh, well, we have two because we saw he sent robot lackeys against Yo-Yo, and the other one is Daisy.
Yeah, yeah.
He has her on the operating table. We're thinking, oh dear, nefarious things.
Right. Because he's trying to unplug her head.
But his plan was to get her powers back.
Right.
We're like, okay, where are you going with this, sir?
Yeah, and of course, Daisy assumes that if she gets her powers back, into the world.
Yes.
So she is, besides the fact that she has the back of her head cut off, for moral reasons, she's against what he's doing.
Yes. And then our Fitz comes in and tries to save the day.
Yes.
And we're thinking, yay, okay, come on, save your friend.
Right.
And then, like you said, once she let out, who are you talking to? We're like,
I was like, and I thought for a minute, well, maybe they're positioned just right that from her angle, she can't see.
Because she is laying in a very...
She's got a vice on her
head, laying in a very awkward position.
Yeah.
And under horrible distress.
Yeah. So it is possible that she just didn't see other Fitz.
But at the same time, you're probably... That wasn't the case. You're like, you can explain that, but it's probably not it.
Yeah.
There's one person in there.
Yep.
And yep.
It is regular Fitz.
Regular Fitz. This... just... how many times we have gushed over Ian DeCastaker's take on this character and what the writers have given the character to do. You think, again, justified tweet to Marissa Tantron. Yeah. Because you think we've seen all of Fitz. Man.
Yeah, because we started out back in season 1 with young, innocent
he's basically a kid.
Right, yeah.
Basically a kid.
And then we see mentally damaged Fitz.
Yes.
Then we see, Fitz manning up.
Yeah, a lot.
And then we have grumpy old man Fitz now.
Yeah. Yes.
Because we get to see Grandpa Fitz.
He has grown up in these 5 years.
Yeah.
A lot.
So, yeah.
Probably more than the character would have intended to.
Right, yeah. So it's understandable that we thought, oh, grumpy old man Fitz? This is it. This is the Fitz that we have. But
the scene when it's revealed that Framework Fitz is a figment of his own mind, and he was the one holding the scalpel and gloves.
Yeah.
And then when he consciously knew the risk of pulling this thing out of Daisy, and just the look on Daisy's face when she says, "I'll never forgive you."
Right. Yeah, no, it's and it's what I like though to really kind of skip ahead here is when he's talking to, because he seems to have arrested himself.
Yes.
Which I thought was very interesting when he gets down on his knees with his hands behind his head. That's a very small scene, but I did not see that coming.
No.
Because it's just admitting full guilt for almost possibly murdering your friend.
Yes.
Or at least, as Jim said, at least paralyzing her.
Yes. But she didn't. But he didn't.
Right.
She's fine.
But I like that Gemma, is like, yeah, sometimes you have to do things that are kind of morally gray, I'll say, because the other word was obviously too big. And so that, she doesn't necessarily fully agree with what he did, but she doesn't disagree with it either.
But I did like the scene when he is in jail.
Yes.
Self-imposed jail.
Yeah, which isn't the worst jail in the world.
No.
They have set up.
Because Gemma was saying, I'm sure if you talk to them, because Mac was shot during this.
Right.
Mac and Daisy will forgive you. And he's like, you know what the terrible thing is? I still don't think it was wrong.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't think that was Framework Fitz talking.
Right. No, that was fully Fitz. One thing also to talk about the production of the show itself. From when he pulls that thing out the back of her head.
Oh my god.
which made me forget I was watching ABC
Yep.
for a minute.
Yep.
And I was wondering, where do wires stop and insides begin?
Well, because
I thought he was going to pull her inside
because
out.
we kind of saw it earlier this season,
Mhm.
her implant.
Right.
You're like, oh, that's terrible.
Right.
And then when he cuts open her head,
Yeah.
you're like, oh. But when he pulls like the metal thing out, you're like, oh, that was it?
Right, yeah.
Why didn't you guys? Oh my goodness! And then he kept pulling.
Yeah. And I seriously thought that she was going to turn inside out.
Yep.
It's like, eventually that's going to connect to like spinal cord or
Yeah.
something, right?
He kept pulling, and then when we got back from commercial break, we saw how big this thing was.
Yeah. But I like that when he's they do a montage of what she has to do while he's explaining it, instead of having the exposition and then going through all
Yes.
the thing. It's like, yeah, you saved us about 45 minutes worth of
Yeah.
needless footage by just doing it all together.
Yep. So that was the A plot to me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this was a Fitz-centric episode.
Yes.
One thing that I was talking about with Saran, one of our most loyal listeners, was it seems like anytime we have a Fitz plot, he has to have some sort of brain damage going on.
Some trauma.
Some trauma, yeah. And both of us are kind of curious on if this is going to connect to his original trauma and brain damage. Because they did allude to when he was seeing Simmons when she wasn't there.
Yeah.
And he said, well, that was my conscience. And she said, well, what's framework Fitz? And it's like, what was framework Fitz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love because, I don't love it because of this, but I do enjoy it as a viewer because the crew and writers and production team and actors feel a somewhat ending coming.
Yeah.
So they're throwing
Everything.
every throwback that they possibly
Yeah. It's like, remember on episode 2 when this happened?
can. So I don't like it because of the sense of ending, but I just love it as like a fan of the show who's been with them since day one. That they're calling back a lot of things.
We're going to make it worth it to you longtime viewers.
Yes. So on to the B plot.
Yes.
Because Coulson was the B plot.
He was.
But an important B plot.
Very much so.
Because it seems like it's going to set up a lot of events coming up. I know first thing out of the gate with that is for you and Mr. Zach McGowan.
Yes, I was.
If Zach McGowan comes back to Dragon Con, I'm going to meet him for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I'm sure I said it the last time we did our Dragon Con report. I didn't have enough money to go see Zach McGowan last year.
Yeah.
So if he comes back for you.
Yes, because when I saw guest starring and I saw his name there, I was like, I hope he is not an apparition.
Yes.
Let him be real. And relatively speaking,
Relatively
he is real.
speaking. As in not Fear Dimension.
Right.
Relatively speaking. Yep.
Yes.
So we know another member of the anti-S.H.I.E.L.D. gang.
Yeah.
It's become, again, I love that aside from Ruby, it's all people we've seen before.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, hey, you were in an episode, come back.
And I forgot that he had a name. It's Anton.
Yeah.
It was always the Russian.
Or Superior.
Or the Superior,
Russian.
yeah. Because when I forgot who said Anton first, but when they said that, I was like, oh yeah.
You have a name!
Yeah.
And again, throwbacks. I love the whole bro.
Yeah. The story, origin story.
Yeah. I love that they brought that back twice.
Yep. They will make a meta joke within a meta joke for you.
Yep. So what did you think other than happily seeing Zach McGowan back? What did you think of this
I like that my distaste for
Hale?
Hale is not unjustified.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like her, and I wasn't sure when we first get introduced to her. I wasn't sure if I didn't like her or if I didn't like the actress. To be perfectly honest, I didn't want to say anything before because we like to give people a chance, even if we're not too familiar with their work. So I was like, no, I'm gonna give her a chance, and no, now I see it really is the character I don't like, which says a lot of good stuff for the actress.
Yes. Yes.
Because it was like, I don't like you as mother. I don't like you as, taking Talbot's place. I wasn't even a huge fan of Talbot before, but I'll take him over her.
He just made it entertaining.
Right, yeah.
He had some of the best quotes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I would definitely take Talbot back over her as far as a character.
Yes. Well, Talbot was never a bad guy.
Right.
So I think it's a good job on the writers.
Yeah.
For giving you a funny feeling about General Hale.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, we learned it's not unwarranted.
Right. Yes.
So Coulson and the gang that's not dealing with crazy Fitz managed to capture General Hale.
Yeah.
And
that was surprising.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I thought this was going to be later. Okay.
Yeah, we're doing this.
We're doing this. And she thought the same too. That's why it wasn't by chance that they captured her.
Right, yeah.
And the Absorbing Man comes back,
Mm-hmm.
ready to do the Absorbing Man stuff. And I love just the familiarity between the characters because she comes in, they capture her. Coulson puts her in the interrogation room.
Yeah.
Something we haven't seen in a while.
Which she thinks is going to be some sort of torture room.
And there was a driver that they can't manage to move. And Love May was just like, pulls out a gun, get out of the car, Mr. Creel.
Right.
They said, this guy's made of stone or something. She's like, oh, God.
Yeah. She's like, I've dealt with this before.
Yes. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
No hesitation. She knew exactly what they were talking about.
Even though the question is, since he is Absorbing Man, what is she going to do with him with the gun?
Don't know, but I like that. May.
Yeah.
You don't know what she's going to do, and probably neither does she, but she's ready to take it on.
Yeah. It's like, this gun might not work on you, but I'm going to try it.
But, I mean, and you think about some of the only real fight sequences we had with the Absorbing Man came with Agent May.
Yeah.
In season 2.
So she's very personally familiar with him.
Yeah, so, again, she was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but
nobody else. Get out of the car so I can find out.
Obviously, I'm the only person who knows who this is, so I guess it's on me.
Yeah, she's the only character that's all season 2.
Yep. Yeah. So, they get her in, and you're thinking, okay, well, we're going to learn something.
Mm-hmm.
They can't capture her, and we learn squat.
Right.
Well, we learned that she meant to get captured.
Right.
And that's where the Superior came in, Mr. Zach McGowan.
Yep, the LMD.
Basically, she threatened, if you don't let me go, well, the Absorbing Man's going to kill you. And, well, he's going to survive because the Superior is not actually a regular body. He's going to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Can't say the same for all of you. Haha.
Right.
But she keeps urging for Coulson to come with her.
Yeah.
To see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And you still think, I don't like this.
Yeah, it's in a tricky way, but at the same time, you kind of want him to go so we can see.
Yeah, and also, within 5 years, one has the bad guy personally invited.
Right.
The good guy. So you still think you're not a bad guy.
Yeah, I don't like you,
but I don't like you. I don't trust that you're on the same side. Ish.
Right. And she's not.
But what is your game?
Mm-hmm.
So Coulson again is really being reckless, and I love his little exchange with May before he goes off.
Mm-hmm.
I love how they're just arguing about stuff, and he's like, "Can we not air our countries in front of the bad guys?"
Right. Yeah, because Clark Gregg, no matter what he's in, will always have good one-liners.
Yes.
I love his dry sense of humor. I'm very curious on how he would be as a stand-up comedian.
I'd say not good.
That would be my worry.
Not good. That's just a whole mess of things I don't even want to get into because I'm not a stand-up comedian.
Yeah. And we've talked about that before.
But I don't know. I don't have the nerve to even try.
No, I'm with you on that. But yeah, so Coulson, Mommy and Daddy have an argument, and then Dad goes off.
Yes.
Because that's really what it was like. It was like watching your parents fight, and May was like, "Come over here. We're gonna talk about this first." And yeah, he's willing to do all these, as she puts it, suicide missions, because he wants whatever is remaining of his life to count for something,
to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
We see, he goes on the plane, and they don't drug him or knock him out.
No.
I mean, if anything, the absorbing man just wants him to put this hood on.
Yeah,
But
which he still doesn't exactly do.
do.
Yeah.
Pulls out another bro to the Russian.
Mm-hmm.
And
Gives him his hand.
yeah.
Yeah, just very cooperative.
Yeah, very cooperative. Everybody seems very civil to each other. Again, you're thinking, not, what are you guys?
Yeah, because obviously...
Because not only does the absorbing man keep mentioning this grand plan, but also now the Russian is mentioning this grand plan General Hale has.
Right.
So again, you think, not good guy, but not bad guy?
And obviously they want something either with Coulson himself, physically, or information that he has. Because, like you said, they didn't knock him out. They didn't do anything to damage him. And the only reason they took his hand was to check for weapons.
And she didn't forcefully take him.
Mm-mm.
If he didn't go, she'd be like, okay, well, you're missing out.
Yeah, and he said, the deal is, if I go, all my people are safe. And, I mean, now we know not to trust bad guys when they say okay, but she made it seem like, okay.
Yeah.
Because all we want is you.
Yeah.
So we really don't care about these other people.
And the sense of, like, we want you to come so you can agree.
Mm-hmm.
We want to show you something.
Yeah.
So the post-credits,
Mm-hmm.
the final little bit of the show, we see General Hale in front of Chinese number letters.
Yeah.
And talking to a mysterious shadow figure.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I think, oh, jeez, the bad guy.
Right, yeah. Here's the big bad for the rest of the season.
And they keep calling themselves the Confederacy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're like, okay, what is this? And then...
Yeah, I was staying away from Google during that part, just because I didn't want to...
miss anything.
Yeah.
Because you can Google anytime after, because these scenes are only 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the last line, Hail Hydra.
Yep.
You gotta think, we always should see this coming.
We should.
Always.
Cut off one head, 2 more appear.
Always.
Yeah.
But somehow, whenever they come back in any fashion,
Mm-hmm.
we're like,
Where did Hydra come from?
Yeah.
They never went away.
did you see the teaser for next week's episode?
Mm-hmm.
So we can, so based on the information we got from this episode and the teaser, it looks like, yes, we have Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like Hydra is just another group in this sense. Not the bad guy.
Right. Or at least not the bad guy they used to be.
Or at least not the bad guy in the immediate sense.
Mm-hmm.
As in, we're not saying we're not going to be bad guys, but...
we have a bigger threat on our hands.
What it is, we don't know, because why would they tell us?
Well, it's an invasion.
Yeah.
We do know that. My guess, and this was again talking to Saran earlier, is that this is going to be Thanos' foot soldiers coming in. Yeah, this is the invasion before the invasion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or not.
Or not, yeah, it might not be canon at all.
You know, we've said this earlier. I think they realize that, the movies don't care about us.
Right.
We're going to do our own thing. So it could just be a whole different thing.
Yeah. So, but as far as we know, the Earth is safe from cracking.
Because they
so now we
really
need a
haven't.
different problem.
They really haven't mentioned anything movie-wise since Civil War in a news footage.
Yeah, because the only other times they've mentioned stuff has been like these short little one-line things, like when Coulson mentions
tiny.
Yeah, an Asgardian seen in the streets.
Yeah, tiny though, tiny.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, did you mean for that to connect to Ragnarok, or was that just coincidence that you said that?
But, it's not like the old days where they're, oh no.
Yeah.
There's a pure connection.
Yeah.
Now there's just there is a connection, just not as strong as...
They're like, we can't keep up with you guys, you don't care about us.
We're all going to do our own things.
Yep.
Deal.
Right.
So, and I like one of your last live tweets was how do you keep us guessing in this show?
Yeah.
Because not only is Hydra back, but Hydra is in short sense not the main bad guy right now.
Right. Yeah.
So what is going on?
Yep. Do we like Hydra? No.
Can we like Hydra without Ward? Because Ward made it so cool.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because Framework Hydra we really didn't like. Yes. I mean, I want Ada back. But besides that, we really didn't like that.
Yes.
We don't like what that Hydra did to Fitz.
No. Still.
Yeah. So,
and now really to everybody else.
Yeah, so it's like, what's going on. But I want to give a special shout out to the C plot
Yes.
with Deke.
Oh my
Still outstanding. Just
Deke.
what can we say about Deke that we haven't already said is the thing.
Deke. I will say, even in small ways, sometimes the show keeps us not knowing what's going to happen next.
Yeah, because
So
he's already starting to step up.
Yes. So he finally reveals to.
Well, hold on. Before that part,
Oh.
I love the scene because in either episode 100 or 99, when they, I think it was 100, when they said, somebody has to throw this into the crack, and he was like, nope, not gonna do it, not gonna risk my life, sort of thing. Now he's literally stepping in front of a gun for Gemma.
Yeah.
But then towards the end,
he finally reveals to his grandmother that,
and I love the way he does it. He starts describing Fitz.
Yeah. In very personal ways that only Gemma and we know as the viewer.
Right, and some of the stuff we didn't even know.
Well, the prosciutto sandwich.
Yeah.
With pesto aioli. I mean, I always remember that from first season. And then she looks at him and she's like, wait, what? And he's like, that's what my mom used to tell me about her dad.
Yep.
And then repeats the little quote about, it doesn't have to be a big step.
Yeah, just has to go in the right direction.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then she throws up.
Now, again, you're like, this is about to be a very tender moment. They're probably going to hug.
Right.
They're going to cry. Nope.
Yeah, because our follower Toby was even tweeting, "Hug your grandson." It's like, no, don't now.
I mean, do you blame her?
No. I mean, but I love that sort of thing.
Do you blame her because the real revelation, or the fact that, this person we've had to keep stowing away this whole time?
Yeah, but I love the fact that we can have a show that gives us ships that are flying in the air that shouldn't, aliens, gravitonium, stuff like this, Inhumans. Keeps some realism in there. It's like, how would a real person react to meeting their grandson?
Yep. That's
probably at the shock of it would, kind of turn you inside out. Yeah.
And I love that it ended on that before the Hydra reveal.
Right, yeah. That's how you end an episode right there. You don't give a big reveal, you just give somebody throwing up.
Now, I wonder with that information, is she start going to just, like, from that moment after she threw up and maybe she hugs him, or she just runs everywhere and be like, guess what, everybody? Right. Especially the Fitz. Guess what?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be a new secret?
Yeah. No, we had to find out. And since we are running out of time for this episode, if we have time in the next episode, I will mention my qualms about time travel and how things aren't working out the way they should. But that's kind of a teaser for our next episode now.
Yes.
So anything else to wrap up S.H.I.E.L.D. here? Until next week.